United we're as strong as a mountain. United we're as deep as the sea.
This is Steve Zeltzer with Workweek, and I'm in Durban, South Africa, and there's a very important development that's taking place. The ILWU Local 10 in San Francisco have voted the executive board to have an action to free Mumia Abu-jamal on February 16th. And we have two members, a retired member and a current member of ILWU Local 10 to join us today about this action by the ILWU. So first I'll invite Jack Heyman. Jack, why don't you talk about what's happening with Mumia and this International Day of Action, which is being worked on and acted on by the ILWU Local 10.
So, you know, the Longshore Union, and particularly Local 10, has been defending Mumia for over 3 decades now. And we feel this is the best opportunity now to finally free Mumia. And that's because of a judge's decision on December 16th. Judge Lucretia Clemens. And she made a decision which surprised so many of us, which was that all the boxes that had been sequestered, hidden really, in the district attorney's office has to be turned over to the defense of Mumia. And we already know one of the pieces of evidence is there's a handwritten message from the star witness, Robert Chaubert, the taxi driver, who said in the handwritten message to the district attorney, McGill at the time, I gave you the testimony, where's my money? That, to me, is conclusive that this is perjured testimony, and that alone should throw the case out, and Mumia should be free. I mean, there are so many discrepancies in terms of judicial misconduct, prosecutorial misconduct. They were excluding blacks from the jury. That's another thing that was found in these boxes. So there's enough material to prove that Mumia has been framed from the get-go. He spent 41 or 42 now, I think, years in prison. I visited him a couple of years ago. He's been having one medical condition after another. Had a heart problem, liver, had hepatitis C. These are all deadly diseases. We've managed to save them each time.
Also joining us is David Newton. Welcome to Workweek. David, why don't you talk about what's happening in the decision of the ILWU Executive Board, Local 10?
Well, to go into what's happening, I am David Newton. We're talking about Mumia's case and the action that Local 10 is taking about his decision coming up, but I think you have to go into what exactly is going on before you go into the action. What exactly is going on is Mumia has been locked up for 41, almost 42 years now, and I said I'm not calling him that anymore. I'm calling him political prisoner Mumia Abu-jamal, because that's what he is and that's his name. The judge finally agreed to review his case and bring all of the boxes, because we've been calling for a new trial for Mumia for 400 years, not just 41. That's a whole nother argument. But Mumia's case on December 16th, the judge said, let me review it. Give me 60 days, 30 days, which would come, 60 days, which would come to February 16th, and then from February 16th to March 16th, she will render a verdict or a decision. So anytime after February 16th, this thing can come down. Now you come into the action. The action that we plan to take as ILWU members is we would like to stand down on the job, because this is the power that we have. Now me and my comrade, big brother Jack Heyman, are here in South Africa right now because we are also lobbying to our African sisters and brothers here, who are also union brothers and sisters. Also, at the same time, a young man, Tyree, in Memphis is brutally beaten and murdered. So this is going on since we've been from Africa to this continent, to the United States. On my way to South Africa, a comrade of ours said that my people left, my ancestors left this continent that we're going to, and now, I didn't say this, he said that he was coming back as a leader. I feel like I'm coming back as somewhat of my own free will. So now we are here and we are networking with comrades of South Africa, Durban, Johannesburg. We're also talking to people from Namibia. We're talking to people from Rwanda. We're talking to people from England. We're trying to make this a global issue because being wrongfully persecuted, being wrongfully beaten, being wrongfully mistreated is a global human issue. So we're trying to get into the humanity. And if we can, as the working class people, unite on a larger scale, then we can actually make change and we can shake some trees and make some leaves fall down, because that's what we need to do. We don't have the economic capital or the economic power to put people in office, but we can make those people feel it, and then they'll maybe conform and feel a human side, because I saw a young boy be beaten, and I don't see enough outrage about this man that lost his life being punched like a punching bag, and all he did was be accused of reckless driving. I don't even know if that's the case. Maybe it was a hit. Maybe they saw that young man and they had an issue with how he looked or smelled. It could have been as simple as that. We'll never know. But I want to say free Mumia, because now we can save a life. We just lost another life. We won't get that back. But we need some change. We need, for those, call them whatever you want to call them. I don't know what kind of humans they were. But for those people, they're gone. But for the people behind them, maybe police people can have an 8-hour day and get paid an extra hour for counseling. I don't care if they get paid an extra hour for counseling, but it would have to be a requirement. At home, we can have, in public schools, we should have training for these kids coming out of school and say, listen, these people may not be your friends if they're on the scene. You need to conduct yourself in this manner. We need to take methods of going forward to prevent these things from happening. Also, stand down work actions can put it in the pockets and make people feel it. So now we can actually touch people's homes, and this is our plan.
And this struggle for human rights, for worker rights, is an international struggle, as you're saying. It's all over the world. You've been here in South Africa, and you were visiting NUMSA, which is the largest union in South Africa. It's not only the largest union in South Africa, it's the largest union in Africa. And you met with the leadership, and they've decided to take an action here in South Africa in solidarity with Mumia Abu-jamal. Why don't you talk about that, Jack?
Yeah, so NUMSA and David Newton and myself, by the way, I think the listening audience should know, the reason that David talks with such fire in his belly is because this is Huey Newton's nephew. And we've had a long history of having Black Panthers in Local 10, going back to David Hilliard, Clarence Thomas today was a Black Panther, and so forth. Now I've already forgotten your question.
The question is one of the reasons you came to South Africa, you were directed by your union to reach out to other unions, including NUMSA. Right. You met with NUMSA, which is the largest union in South Africa and Africa, to ask for solidarity action.
Right. So that didn't just happen at the last executive board. We've been developing a close relationship with NUMSA in particular. NUMSA, the most militant and largest trade union in South Africa. We appealed to them several years ago when Mumia was dying of hepatitis C. They wrote a powerful letter to the governor of Pennsylvania at the time, Governor Wolf, that said, you, Governor Wolf, are treating Mumia Abu-jamal, a political prisoner, the same way the apartheid regime treated our freedom fighters. When they got sick, they let them die a very lonely and painful death. Now, I can't say that it was that letter that turned the governor's head, but I'm sure it had some kind of influence in the decision, because Mumia was able to get the life-saving medication. And he, in breaking through that barrier, he was able to get that medication for all the 7,000 prisoners in Pennsylvania suffering from hepatitis C. Now, We've had this relationship with NUMSA. We were coming here for a conference with the Durban dock workers, and also at the university with some professors here in Durban, the Durban University of Technology. But this...
So you met with the leadership. What did the leadership say at NUMSA?
We met with them at their headquarters. They had all of their national office bearers at the meeting with the staff. There wasn't an empty seat in the room. And we laid out the case for Mumia Abu-jamal, and we showed them some of the videotapes of the militant actions that the ILWU has taken, starting with the strike against the apartheid ship that came in from South Africa in 1984. In 1999, we shut down all the ports on the West Coast to defend Mumia Abu-jamal. And when they saw that, they realized, you know, we're here for more action to free Mumia. I laid out the basis for there's a real chance for Mumia to get free now, and we need unions like NUMSA, which not only are powerful in this country, but they have a big outreach to unions around the world. They're committed to having a demonstration at the U.S. Embassy on February 16th. As Newt said, that's the 60 days from when she made her decision. After that, she'll have 30 days to finally make her decision.
So you're urging workers around the world. I understand there's going to be a demonstration also in Japan and Tokyo.
It's going to start out in Tokyo. That will be the first demonstration. We're at this point reaching out to workers in India and Pakistan. We haven't heard back yet. The next would be South Africa. And South Africa is appealing to Unite. Unite is the largest trade union in Britain, 1.2 million members.
So what does this mean? I mean, this would be an international action for Mumia, demanding that he be released. Do you think that this kind of political action by workers around the world should increase? And what does it mean politically? I mean, the murders in the United States, ongoing murders of blacks, it seems like there's no stopping. Every day there's another murder, there's massacres, and the U.S. government is allowing mass distribution of guns, machine guns. I mean, every time there's a massacre, they're selling more guns. I get ads for more guns in the mail. I mean, it's a business. It seems like it's a business of murder, business of mass hysteria.
Yeah, well, you hit the nail on the head. It is a business of murder, and what the world is saying in opposition to that is we don't agree. Shout out to Big Sister Angela Davis wrote a personalized letter to the General Secretary of NUMSA to demand Mumia's release. We are not accepting this. We've never accepted it, and we will not continue to accept it. And now what we plan to do is strengthen ourselves for this war that we are in, because call it what it is. You're talking about dealing guns, buying guns, putting people in position to be murdered and lose their lives. And it's not just because you lost your life under a gun. Mumia has lost 42 years in a cell. So that's another way of taking someone's life. We want this man to be free. We want justice for Tyree. And beyond justice, we don't want these things to happen anymore. So this is the foundation that we are building on. This is the foundation that we will continue to lay until we see better.
And it seems like the United States has unlimited money, billions of dollars for wars, the war in Ukraine. While people are dying in the streets in the United States, they can't get health care, they can't get housing. There are thousands and thousands of people in tents. They've got unlimited money for billions for war in Ukraine, war to surround China. I mean, militarization it seems like to be the priority. The military-industrial complex is making profit off this.
Well, this is the nature of racial capitalism and racial imperialism. It's been going on in the United States since slave days. And we feel that this is the best opportunity right now to free Mumia, with international mobilizations taking place. We feel that if Mumia is given a fair opportunity, that the judge really looks at what the evidence shows, that he'll be free. And we are reaching out to the audience in LA as well. We're going to have demonstrations up in the Bay Area in San Francisco on February 6th.
You're going to be marching from your union hall to Harry Bridges Plaza at the Ferry Building. You're urging trade unions to join you at noon at the Ferry Building.
No, at noon at our union hall.
And then you're
we're
going.
marching
I see.
to the
And you're urging other workers, dock workers in Los Angeles, as the largest local 13.
all workers and people of color. We're not only marching to free Mumia Abu-jamal, we've added a clause because of this vicious killing of Tyree Nichols. By the way, we've talked about this earlier, by 5 black cops. And I think Clarence said it most eloquently in Panther language. A pig is a pig is a pig. So.
Yeah, and I would like to add on to that, that we're talking about economic oppression against the people, and people are labeling these cops as humans. They are not humans to me. I don't see 5 black cops. I don't see 5 white cops. I see 5 blue cops that are renegades against social people. We need these people off of the streets. These are the worst kind of criminals, and we do not humanize animals, so let's not humanize these monsters.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us on Work Week.